Good evening, detectives. This investigation continues to move in several directions at once. Forensic analysis is ongoing. Additional interviews are being conducted. New documents continue to be reviewed as investigators work to establish not only what happened inside Office 214, but why. At this stage, we're resisting the temptation to force unrelated pieces together simply because they happen to exist in the same investigation. Some questions will lead somewhere. Others won't. Part of our job is determining the difference. This week, investigators continued examining information related to Claire Donnelly's past, including her connection to the homicide of Silas Carlisle in Stonyvale, Michigan. At the same time, additional evidence recovered from Dr. Hammond's office has been examined, including the encrypted flash drive, the commemorative plaque believed to have caused Dr. Hammond's fatal injuries, and a damaged newspaper article with a handwritten note attached. Each of those items is being investigated independently. Whether any of them are connected remains to be seen. As always, I encourage you to continue documenting your observations. Sometimes a fresh perspective catches something investigators have overlooked. Sometimes it simply confirms we're asking the right questions. Either way, it helps. Let's begin with Claire Donnelly. Investigators have once again reached out to Claire's former employer at Stonyvale Junior Academy, Naomi Ferris. Here's what she told us.
When investigators from Bryan County contacted me, I wasn't surprised. I suppose once they learned Claire had been connected to another homicide investigation, they had to ask questions. I told them exactly what I told investigators here years ago. Claire cooperated. She answered every question. And when the investigation was over, she was completely cleared. I've seen what suspicion can do to an innocent person. Once people decide they know the truth, it's very difficult to change their minds. I sincerely hope that doesn't happen to Claire again.
We also again spoke to Sammy White with the Stonyvale Police Department.
At the request of investigators from Bryan County, we reviewed the records from the Silas Carlisle homicide investigation and provided the requested documentation through the appropriate channels. Claire Donnelly was interviewed during that investigation because she discovered Mr. Carlisle's body. As additional evidence was developed, investigators determined there was no evidence connecting Ms. Donnelly to Mr. Carlisle's death. The investigation ultimately led to the arrest and conviction of another individual. Beyond that, I'm not going to speculate about whether our investigation has any connection to what's happening at Blackwood Academy. That's for Bryan County investigators to determine.
Attempts to question Claire Donnelly about her connection to the Silas Carlisle murder were difficult.
I don't want to talk about Silas. I know that probably isn't the answer anyone wants, but I already lived through that investigation once. I answered every question they asked me. I told them everything I knew. I buried the man I loved. And somehow, here I am doing it all over again. Silas didn't deserve what happened to him. Neither did Vanessa, but they aren't the same. Please, stop trying to make them the same. I can't help you with Silas anymore. I just can't.
Claire Donnelly's connection to the Stonyvale investigation is now better understood. At this time, investigators have found no evidence that events surrounding the death of Silas Carlisle are directly connected to Dr. Hammond's murder. That doesn't mean the questions stop. It simply means we continue following the evidence wherever it leads. Our attention now returns to Office 214. Investigators continue working with digital forensic specialists in an effort to access the encrypted flash drive recovered from Dr. Hammond's office. Analysis of the commemorative plaque believed to have caused Dr. Hammond's fatal injuries is also ongoing. One question investigators continue asking is why that particular object was used. The office contained no shortage of heavy items capable of causing serious injury. Whether the plaque was simply what happened to be within reach, or whether it was chosen for a specific reason, remains unknown. Investigators have also made progress regarding the damaged newspaper article recovered from Dr. Hammond's office. Although much of the article was destroyed, enough remained for investigators to identify its general subject. The surviving portions reference an organization known as the Crosspoint Legal Advocacy Center, a nonprofit legal organization that reviewed criminal convictions on behalf of individuals claiming they had been wrongfully convicted. We reached out to Blackwood Academy senior archivist, Margaret Whitlock, to see what she could tell us about the article.
Blackwood Academy maintains an archive of historical editions of the Ashbourne Herald. Students occasionally access those materials while researching local history, genealogy, or community events. According to our records, the newspaper article recovered by investigators originated from those archived newspapers. Beyond confirming its source, I cannot speculate on its significance to this investigation.
Unfortunately, the damaged portions prevent investigators from knowing the article's complete context. There was, however, another source of information. Attached to the article was a handwritten note signed simply B. Academy records identified only one current student by that name, B. Langford. Investigators asked Miss Langford to describe what she remembered.
I wish I could remember more of it. I wasn't reading it because I thought it had anything to do with Professor Hammond. I just thought it looked interesting. From what I remember, it was about a group called the Crosspoint Legal Advocacy Center. I think they helped people who said they'd been convicted of crimes they didn't commit. There was something about reviewing old cases, finding new evidence, getting convictions overturned. I also remember it saying not everyone agreed with what they were doing. Some people thought they were helping innocent people. Other people thought they were getting dangerous people back out on the street. Honestly, I wasn't paying much attention to any of that. I kept looking at the photograph. The woman just looked familiar. That's why I tore the article out. That's why I left it on Dr. Hammond's desk. I thought she'd smile and tell me I was crazy.
I think that's enough. Bee's been very generous with her time, and I don't think continuing to ask her about the article is going to get us anywhere today. I understand why investigators are interested. I understand why everyone has questions. But from everything Bee has shared with me, she clipped an article because she thought a woman in an old newspaper photograph resembled Dr. Hammond. That's all. If something changes, we'll make sure investigators know. Until then, I'd like to let her get back to being a student.
From those interviews, investigators have been able to establish several things. The newspaper article originated from Blackwood Academy's historical newspaper archives. B. Langford removed it from that collection after noticing a resemblance between the woman pictured in the article and Dr. Hammond. She left it on Dr. Hammond's desk with a handwritten note. Whether the article has any connection to Dr. Hammond's death remains unknown. Like every other item recovered from Office 214, it will continue to be examined alongside all available evidence. Investigators will continue pursuing each of those lines of inquiry. Some may ultimately prove significant. Others may not. That is the nature of homicide investigations. Before we conclude tonight's briefing, there is one additional matter investigators have been monitoring. As you know, last week's briefing ended with the sudden collapse of Headmistress Eleanor Whitmore. Since that time, investigators have remained in contact with Blackwood Academy and Bryan County Medical Center regarding her condition. Earlier today, we received an updated statement from her treating physician. Here is that statement.
Headmistress Eleanor Whitmore remains hospitalized under close medical supervision. While she continues to receive excellent care, her condition remains serious. At this time, we are unable to predict when, or if, she will be able to return to her responsibilities at Blackwood Academy. Our immediate focus is her treatment and stabilization. Out of respect for Miss Whitmore's privacy and at the request of her family, we will not be releasing additional information regarding her condition. Thank you for your understanding.
This investigation has taken us in several different directions. Some have reached beyond Blackwood Academy. Others have led us back to the evidence recovered from Office 214. And still, others remind us that this case extends beyond the victim herself to the people whose lives have been forever changed by her death. At this point, there are still far more questions than answers. What was contained on the encrypted flash drive? Why was the commemorative plaque chosen as the murder weapon? Does the damaged newspaper article have any significance? Or is it simply another document that has become part of this investigation? Those are questions investigators continue to pursue. For now, we keep gathering facts, we keep testing assumptions, and we keep following the evidence wherever it leads. I'll see you next week. Good night, detectives.